Dart School presents Simplifying Fractions 1. A fraction can be simplified by dividing its numerator and denominator by a common factor. Consider the fraction 32 over 40. Both the numerator and the denominator being even numbers, you could divide them with 2. And the new fraction you get is 16 on the top, 20 on the bottom, and that's equivalent to 32/40ths. And we say that the fraction has been simplified, or the numbers have become smaller. However, this fraction 16/20ths can still be simplified. If you divide 16 with 2 and 20 with 2, you get 8 on the top and 10 on the bottom, and that can be further simplified by dividing 8 with 2 and 10 with 2 to get the fraction 4/5. And now there's no number other than 1 that can divide 4 and 5 both. But if you divide 4 with 1 and 5 with 1, it doesn't change the fraction, because any number divided by 1 is the number itself. So you would still get a 4 on the top and a 5 on the bottom. So it doesn't really make sense to divide with 1. And then we say that this fraction 4/5 is the fraction 32 over 40 in its simplest form. Note that you could have reached this 4/5 starting from 32 over 40 in fewer number of steps if you divided the numerator and the denominator at any stage with a larger number. For example, you could have divided 32 with 4 and 40 with 4 and directly get an 8 on the top and a 10 on the bottom without having to go through the 16 over 20. Ideally, you want to divide the numerator and the denominator with their GCF, or the greatest common factor, in this case 8. 32 divided with 8 is 4 and 40 divided with 8 is 5. So you get to the simplest form in the smallest number of steps. So the bottom line is, to reduce a fraction to its simplest form, you want to divide the numerator and the denominator with their greatest common factor. If you can't find the greatest common factor, pick up any factor and start doing the division. You will still end up with the simplest form after a few steps. And keep doing that until you can divide no more, or there's no number that will divide the numerator and the denominator except 1. Similarly, the fraction 18 over 24 can be simplified as 18 divided with 6 and 24 divided with 6. That's 3 on the top, 4 on the bottom. 6 is not only a common factor between 18 and 24, in fact it's the greatest common factor, reason why you could get to the simplest form in one single step. Think about the fraction 60 over 90. Let's start dividing 60 and 90 with 10, because both of these numbers end in a 0. So we have 60 divided with 10, that's a 6 on the top, and 90 divided with 10, that's a 9 on the bottom, and that isn't the simplest form because you can still divide 6 and 9 with 3. 6 divided with 3 is 2, and 9 divided with 3 is 3. And this is the simplest form of the fraction 60/90ths. Now if you started with 60/90ths and instead of dividing them with 10, if somehow you could figure out that the greatest common factor between 60 and 90 is 30, you would have got that 2/3, 60 divided with 30 is 2 and 90 divided with 30 is 3 in one single step. You wouldn't have had to go through this step.